Vernon Vibes is brought to you in part by United Water, the official water company of Vernon Township. United Water, involved in the communities they serve.
Hi, I'm Shannon Sweeney. I've been a player or coach for most of my life, and I understand the need to keep our kids motivated and safe. As a parent and coach, I also understand the need to make sure our children are protected. That's why insurance is as an important part of the game as a good coach is. I've known my fellow coach, Wayne Dietz, for 10 years. I've seen him motivate and inspire players both on and off the floor. I've also seen him make sure that our children are safe by making sure that the teams are properly insured. As a coach, we don't often think about insurance, and when you work with Wayne and his team at D&H Risk Solutions, you won't have to. They take care of everything with honesty and integrity so that you can focus on what you do best, coaching your team to victory.
The Vernon Independent Retailers Association reminds you that when you shop locally, you're helping to build our community by supporting local employment and keeping your tax dollars in our community. Support the Vernon Independent Retailers who support you. Brought to you by the Copy Center, H&H Auto Parts, Healthy Times Market, Heaven Hill Farm, Highland General Store, Lakeland Pool and Spa, McAfee Hardware, McAfee Ski and Snowboard, and Valley Paint and Hardware. Come in, we're local.
Good evening and welcome to Vernon Vibes. It's great to be together again. I really look forward to this time, and I hope you do too. In fact, I have noticed in looking at viewings and ratings that there seems to be a small increase in interest in this particular program, and so we try to fulfill our objective, which is to keep you informed of what's happening in Vernon. This evening I want to talk to you about a very, very important issue. One that, in fact, has been on our radar in Vernon Township for quite some time, and that's the issue of the Camp Sussex property. Before I became the mayor, as a matter of fact, during 2009 and 2010, Vernon Township was engaged in a part of their master plan that dealt with the issue of open spaces in Vernon Township. And the work was done by the Land Use Board and the Town Council at that time, and I can tell you that it had defined many areas to be preserved and to be kept open and green throughout Vernon Township, in bringing that plan into compliance with the New Jersey State Plan for greenways, particularly through the Highlands area. There is a part of that plan that is labeled the Pochuck Mountain Greenway. And for those of our residents who live on the west side of town, you would quickly recognize that the Pochuck Mountain Greenway actually runs along the County Route 565 corridor, and in fact, Camp Sussex is located in that proposed greenway. But in addition to being located there, the Camp Sussex property, as early as 2009, as far as I could find in the records, and codified in 2010, was specifically singled out as a primary piece of property that Vernon Township ought to own if and when the opportunity arose and the finances were available. Over the years, Camp Sussex has gone through a tremendous decline. A once vital and valuable asset to Vernon Township that offered the opportunity for young people from the inner cities in New York to come out to Vernon and experience the environment, nature, and in fact, it has a very important and heralded history. People like Mel Brooks and Gabe Kaplan, as well as many other performers and successful people, actually, as children, attended Camp Sussex because it was originated in the early 1920s and funded by a group called the Chelsea Foundation. And as the years went on, the foundation members passed away, and the philanthropists who made it possible for Camp Sussex to exist and to provide that kind of experience to inner city children began to dwindle in number. to the point where in the early 2000s, the camp discontinued operation and was having trouble meeting all of its requirements to remain a tax-free, nonprofit organization. And as a result, losing that designation, Camp Sussex began to be assessed property tax in Vernon Township. The foundation was not capable of meeting that requirement and, in fact, fell into the category of properties to have the taxes sold through the tax certificate sale, which is the process by law that we as the township have for collecting funds that we need to run the town and the school board and the county, even when the property owner doesn't pay the taxes. To cut to the quick, by December of this past year, after looking at the camp in 2012 as a potential buy, myself as your mayor and the council, looking at it at that time, decided that it was best for us not to seek to acquire the property then, because there were tax certificates out against it, as well as other liens, many of them. And so we simply allowed the process to go forward. The company that bought the tax certificates is TLM Funds, and they are located in New York, and they are in the business of buying tax certificates and forwarding the money to the community, as well as real estate. Beginning in the fall of 2013 and ending in 2012, and ending in the spring of 2014, the entire legal process that's required was completed, and TLM Funds and their subsidiary are now the owners of the property. They're not land developers. They're not interested in developing the land, and so they broached the subject with Vernon Township at the time that they took ownership through the Environmental Commission, which is the right body under our form of government and the ordinances of Vernon Township to designate and, in fact, make recommendations to the town council as to open space that should be acquired. That process has been working over a period of time, and approximately 2 meetings ago, the chairman of the Environmental Commission, Beverly Buds, made a presentation to the town council about Camp Sussex. When we come back, I'm going to talk about that.
The Vernon Independent Retailers Association reminds you that when you shop locally, you're helping to build our community by supporting local employment and keeping your tax dollars in our community. Support the Vernon Independent Retailers who support you. Brought to you by The Copy Center, H&H Auto Parts, Healthy Times Market, Heaven Hill Farm, Highland General Store, Lakeland Pool and Spa, McAfee Hardware, McAfee Ski and Snowboard, and Valley Paint and Hardware. Come in, we're local.
Here's an example of a resident speaking very, very clearly to the town council about the desire to have something done about the drug issue in Vernon Township.
I don't know how many of you remember reading an article in the Advertiser last year. It was a 3-part article, and it gave Highland Lakes the distinct honor of having the most purest heroin in the country. How does that happen in a community where you have police and also a private security enact? How does that happen unless people are looking the other way? And apparently, people got very upset with my comments last time because I said people are looking the other way. And they called the superintendent of schools, and he called me. And I said, you know what? Damn it, it's about time that people are calling the superintendent. Every parent in this town should be calling the mayor and saying to get the heroin out of this town. And to me, that's more important than fixing the roads, than having a town center, than having an MUA. There's so much drugs up at that high school. You go in there, and while the kids are passing through their classes, you can smell the pot on everybody. What the hell is wrong with everyone? I want to know, when are we going to get the heroin out of this town? And I say to every parent, don't wait until the school does a test on your child. Don't wait. You go to the drugstore, you get a test, you test your kid, and you deal with it personally within your family. Don't rely on the schools. And I used to work in this school system, and I know people are looking the other way. When are we going to get the heroin out of the town?
Vernon Vibes is brought to you in part by United Water, the official water company of Vernon Township. United Water, involved in the communities they serve.
Welcome back. The first presentation that was made by Mrs. Buds was entitled Vernon's Black Eye. And in essence, the Environmental Commission had gone, with permission of the owners of the land, and taken pictures and done a tour of the property. Now, we all know the vandalism is visible from County Route 565. But what many people did not know, and maybe still don't know, is that that property has been used in nefarious ways by people who are engaging in dangerous drug habits. Hypodermic needles have been found all over the property. Alcohol consumption, broken bottles, and a myriad of other kinds of problems. Now, I know that the reporter from the New Jersey Herald wanted to know, well, how many incidences do we have? And so I checked. He didn't ask me that question, he asked someone else that question, but I checked. And over the past 6 years, Vernon Township has had 7 trespassing complaints, which our police department handled, 5 criminal mischief complaints, which were brought by the neighbors, which our police department handled, 1 ATV complaint, and a myriad of property checks by Vernon Township Police. However, our police department is not allowed to, under state statute, patrol private property. And so it came to the attention of the Environmental Commission that there were these major problems. They came forward and made a presentation to the town council, and the town council told them that, well, what's your vision for this property? And that last Monday night's council meeting, in fact, the Environmental Commission gave their vision for the acquisition of the camp and, in fact, what they have in mind. I've talked to you many times about receiving a no net loss grant from the Department of Forestry in the amount of approximately $340,000. And, in fact, the money is to be used to reforest Vernon Township-owned property to offset the loss of trees due to the Tennessee gas pipeline. That $340,000 represents approximately 1,200 trees. And our Environmental Commission sees the Camp Sussex property as an opportunity to propagate hardwoods with a focus on the American chestnut, as well as other elm, ash, and the like, and turning that forest, if you will, into a passive recreation area where we may have community gardens, we may have areas of benches and the like, walkways that will allow people to, in fact, enjoy the nature that's on that site. There are some 92 animal habitats recognized there, and in fact, we are experiencing a problem with the monarch butterflies being in decline. Apparently, the monarch butterfly thrives on milkweed, and there's a large segment of that property that has naturally occurring milkweed. And so the idea, of course, is to preserve that part to protect some of the species. Now, The discussion that took place about this camp last Monday night and the presentation that was made was attended by a large number of the residents who live around Camp Sussex. And they were there because on May 31st, the Environmental Commission, under the leadership of Mrs. Buds, had sent every resident who lives adjacent to or around Camp Sussex an invitation to join her on the morning of May 31st for a walking tour to see the damage that is not visible, the destruction that is not visible from the road, and in fact, what has been going on there. What was found were stained mattresses and plenty of evidence that it's a place where people engage in sex. What was found there were the remnants of fires that had been started in the building in the campfire style, drug vials, hypodermic needles, all kinds of graffiti, many of them offensive graffiti, schwat stickers and satanic kinds of graffiti, whatever you call them, signs. The fact of the matter is that Camp Sussex, unfortunately, has become a place where people in this township who want to engage in dangerous behavior have a ready-made place to do it with very tough access for the police. First of all, the police have to be called there, and the remoteness of the camp, most people don't even know there's anyone in there or what's going on, and it's been happening now for a long time. Our community has spoken clearly to the council and to this mayor repeatedly that we want to do something about the drug problem in this town. In fact, I have listened to individuals come to the town council and berate them for not doing enough to deal with the drug problem. And I understand that. The acquisition of Camp Sussex and its conversion into a passive recreation area that will benefit all of Vernon will take a giant step to addressing one of the places where that kind of activity that engenders drug use and drug deals and other illicit behavior will be eradicated and turned into something that we all can be very, very proud of. I know that there's much work yet to be done and very, very important questions to be answered, such as, what are we going to find environmentally there? Are there problems? Could be. We don't know yet. Okay? What are we going to do about the buildings? We're going to raise most of them, but we haven't decided exactly which ones. And there are members of the council calling for this kind of information right now. I want to speak to that issue. First, as I told the people at the council meeting, there is a natural and legitimate process to be followed. And spending money on plans and environmental assessments or inventories and all the other questions that were raised by some of the council members comes after you have a contract of sale. Now, a contract of sale does not bind the township unless all of the requirements spelled out in that contract are met. It is just simply poor management and poor judgment for the township, for example, to go in and do an environmental assessment now when we have no interest, no protection, and nothing from presenting some other individual to use our tax money expended research, avoid doing it themselves, and become competitive in the acquisition of the property. Just is not a good idea, I believe. In terms of plans, those plans need to be drawn up by our professional planner, our engineer, and hopefully a community committee who will have input into exactly what takes place there once we acquire that property. Lastly, how are we going to buy it? It's very simple. There has been a fund that was generated in 2000, from 2000 to approximately 2004, I believe, called the Open Space Fund. Since 2008, there has been almost $1 million sitting in that fund, and this township has done nothing with it. There have been 4 pieces of property purchased with that money. One was the 10-acre piece that's off of Samus Road that was purchased from Jacob Smith. One was a 5-acre piece that was purchased from Vincent Gray. And 2 were small pieces that the township purchased, and I don't remember who they were purchased from. But since 2008, after the township had voted in 2005 and 6 to discontinue collecting that 1 or 2% tax for open space, that fund has been sitting there and nothing has happened with it. In terms of using it for farmland preservation, which was the first objective of that tax, without having that tax in place and without having an open space committee in Vernon Township, our priority on the list of preserved farms with state and county money has been lowered. That action was done by you, the voters, when you, in fact, discontinued collecting that tax. Secondly, you all know and have heard me speak about the Highlands Act. We are now 74% Highlands preservation, our landmass. And what that means basically is that land is preserved. And so Vernon Township, vis-a-vis the Highlands Act and our own decision not to collect the 2% tax for open space, has moved us down in the priority list for use to preserve farmland in Vernon Township. So then what is the money to be used for? It's to be used exactly for what we're talking about in acquiring Camp Sussex. I'll be back in just a minute.
The Vernon Independent Retailers Association reminds you that when you shop locally, you're helping to build our community by supporting local employment and keeping your tax dollars in our community. Support the Vernon Independent Retailers who support you. Brought to you by The Copy Center, H&H Auto Parts, Healthy Times Market, Heaven Hill Farm, Highland General Store, Lakeland Pool and Spa, McAfee Hardware, McAfee Ski and Snowboard, and Valley Paint and Hardware. Come in, we're local.
Welcome back. In finishing up this issue, I want to inform you that by a vote of 3-2, the council directed your mayor to enter into negotiations with the owner to determine a fair price for acquisition of the property and to bring that contract to the board for its consideration. I have already heard from many, many residents, well, can we afford it? How are we going to pay for it? I will tell you this. I have been your mayor for 3 years. We have done phenomenal things in this township in terms of upgrading our infrastructure, our roads, our fields, maintaining them, our municipal building, our DPW. And we've done that and been able to do it and still lower your property tax for local purposes. And there's a simple reason for it. It's because we are managing your money better than it's ever been managed. I will make this commitment to you. This piece of property is an excellent addition to Vernon Township's assets, and it does not have to be developed in 12 months or 24 months. It will be done in the same way that we have done all the other things since I've been your mayor. We will lay out a plan, not only as to what needs to be done, but how much it's going to cost and how we can do it so that it doesn't negatively impact your property taxes. And I want to say clearly to you, my objective as your mayor has not changed one bit. We have delivered more and better services. We have taken care of our assets better, and we've done it with a financial plan that behooves and behests all of you to recognize when you hear someone saying, we can't afford this, that's just not true. We can't afford not to do this. Thank you.
Vernon Vibes is brought to you in part by United Water, the official water company of Vernon Township. United Water, involved in the communities they serve.
This evening's program is the second anniversary of Vernon Vibes, and we're going to take a look back we want to show you the very first segment of Vernon Vibes that was done on June the 16th of 2012. I hope you enjoy it. I think it'll be interesting for you to see the message that was delivered then compared to the message that you get now. Welcome to Vernon Vibes with Mayor Vic Marotta. This is our inaugural program, and we're excited about it because this program gives us the opportunity to talk to you, the people of Vernon, directly. We have the benefit of coverage by some of the print media, and they do a pretty darn good job. But to be frank with you, there's so much that's been going on in Vernon, and much of it is extremely important, and we'd like the opportunity to communicate with you directly. And so, henceforth, we're going to bring to you the activity of your local government, and hopefully this show will become an interactive show. Before we're done here today, I would like to give you an email address in which you can email questions of concern or comments of concern that you'd like to see addressed in future programs, and we'll do our very best to get answers for you. Now, in the first segment of this program, I'd like to talk a little bit about what's been happening. You know, of course, that approximately 1 year ago, Vernon Township inaugurated a new form of government, the strong mayor form of government. And in fact, that puts a tremendous amount of responsibility, but also opportunity right here at this desk. And I want to tell you personally, from me to you, it is an absolute honor to serve as the mayor of Vernon Township. This is a beautiful community, physically beautiful. The people are strong. When times are tough and things need to happen, we don't have to ask people. They step up. Most recently, this past weekend, we celebrated Vernon Day. What a tremendous success it was to see our community come together and bring forth all kinds of efforts on behalf of our Little League, our Historical Society, and so many other of the organizations. And what made it a success? Vernon people working together. And that really has been our true treasure trove over the many, many years. I know for a fact that when people in our community are in need, we don't have to send out letters, and we don't have to call in welfare, and we don't have to do the things that happen in other places. In Vernon, our neighbors step up, we help each other, we take care of each other, and now we have a town council and a municipal government that reflects that character of Vernon, that goodness that makes up Vernon a very unique place to live. And frankly, I must admit I'm a bit prejudiced, having lived here as long as I have and raised my family, one that I just love, and I know that the people who do live here feel the same way. And so I want to again welcome you. I want you to thank you for tuning in. Hopefully it'll be informative, and hopefully as we go down the road together, it'll be a way for us to communicate back and forth. One of the policies that we put in place immediately upon election was an open door policy. And I often kid with people who come into town hall about the fact that on the door to my office, the sign that says mayor is actually on the inside of the door, not the outside. And some people wonder if that's because I need to know where I'm supposed to be. But the truth of the matter is that door is open. And the sign is on the inside so that when people come into the ante office, they know that that door is open, and hopefully they take that as a signal that they are welcome and that this mayor is interested in serving the community's needs, our people's needs, and helping to in fact solve problems. And that's been the fun of the first year. I've had people ask me, Mayor, how's it been? Running Vernon must be a lot of headaches. I will tell you that there are lots of challenges, but I look at those as opportunities. And my first year here, from a personal point of view, has been absolutely a tremendous experience. My wife would tell you that every morning when I get up, I can't wait to get to work, and I look forward to it. And oftentimes I'll be here late in the afternoon and on into the evening. We don't have to do that. We do it because we really care about Vernon. And hopefully, when you see the things that we are doing, you will begin to understand and care the way we do about Vernon. I thank you for your support. I thank you for your interest. I look forward to seeing you all again on the next Vernon Vibes.